The lights dimmed, and the stage fell silent. A small boy, no older than 12, stepped nervously into the spotlight. His shoes were worn out, his hands trembled, and his eyes, though shy, held a spark that no one could ignore. The murmurs in the audience quieted as he adjusted the microphone. He didn't say a word. The music began, soft, haunting, and full of emotion. Within seconds, the first note left his lips, and the entire hall seemed to stop breathing. His name was Luca. He came from a small town on the outskirts of Milan, where his mother worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. His father had left when he was just a baby, leaving behind a photograph and a promise that was never kept. From a young age, Luca found comfort in singing. Music was his escape from the noise of poverty, the endless arguments from the neighbors, the silence in the fridge, and the ache in his mother's tired smile. When a local talent competition opened for children, his mother, despite her doubts, encouraged him to try. "Sing with your heart, Luca," she said. "The world listens when the heart speaks." But Luca was afraid. He had never sung in front of more than a handful of people. His classmates often mocked his soft voice, calling it too emotional. Yet, when he sang alone in the narrow alley behind their apartment, stray cats and the wind seemed to pause just to listen. On the day of the competition, Luca almost didn't go. His nerves got the better of him. His mother held his hands and whispered, "You have a gift. Don't let fear steal it from you." Those words echoed in his mind as he walked onto the stage. The judges had seen dozens of contestants before him, flashy performances, loud songs, bright costumes. Luca had none of that. Just a plain white shirt, a pair of old jeans, and a heart full of unspoken emotion. When the piano began to play the opening notes of "Time to Say Goodbye," the judges raised their brows. It was a difficult song, one even professionals struggled to master. But Luca didn't back down. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and sang. His voice was pure, fragile, and raw. Every note carried a piece of his life, loneliness, hope, love, and longing. As he reached the chorus, his tone grew stronger, richer. It was as if every ounce of pain he'd ever felt was transformed into something beautiful. The audience leaned forward, some already wiping away tears. Even the judges, who prided themselves on being tough, sat frozen. Behind the curtain, his mother stood watching, her hand over her mouth. She had heard him sing before, but never like this. It wasn't just her son on that stage, it was his soul. Halfway through the performance, Luca's voice cracked slightly. For a moment, silence filled the room. But instead of panicking, he smiled softly and continued, letting the imperfection become part of the emotion. The small stumble made it even more real, more human. By the final note, the audience rose to their feet. Applause thundered through the theater. Some were crying. Others simply stood in awe. The judges pressed the golden buzzer. Confetti rained down, and Luca's mother ran to the stage, tears streaming down her face. Luca's eyes filled with disbelief. For the first time in his life, he felt seen, not for what he lacked, but for what he had within. But the story didn't end there. Fame came quickly, and with it, pressure. Luca's quiet world became loud: interviews, cameras, expectations. He struggled to keep up. At times, he felt like he was losing himself in the noise of success. There were nights he cried, wishing things could go back to the way they were. Yet, every time he felt lost, he remembered the words his mother had told him before his first audition: "Sing with your heart." So he did. Every performance, every song, he sang for the people who needed to believe again, for those who had been told they weren't good enough, for those who dreamed silently while the world ignored them. His voice wasn't just music, it was hope. Years later, standing on a grand stage in front of thousands, Luca introduced his final song for the night. "This one," he said softly, "is for anyone who's ever felt invisible. Sometimes, the smallest voice can make the biggest sound." And when he began to sing "Time to Say Goodbye" again, this time as a world-renowned artist, the same magic filled the air. The boy who once trembled on a small stage now moved hearts across the world. When the last note faded, the audience erupted. But Luca didn't need the applause anymore. He looked up at the lights, as if speaking to the boy he used to be, and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up." The message was clear and powerful: greatness doesn't come from perfection, it comes from courage, from choosing to stand and sing even when your voice shakes. And in that courage, Luca had found not only success but something far greater, his purpose. That night, millions watched his performance online, sharing it across the world. And somewhere, a small child sat in front of an old screen, listening, feeling seen for the first time. The cycle of inspiration began again, one trembling voice at a time.